I'm moving, I'm moving, I'm moving, I'm moving, I'm moving, I'm moving.
What's poppin', guys? It's your boy Jay, that's me. Let's discuss Against All Odds for June the 9th, 2023. The show, for the most part, was decent. So, we're going to quickly go over the pre-show or the countdown, and then from there we'll get into the main card, the rest of the show. So, Kylan King defeated Nevaeh via the King's Curse, and Nevaeh is the wife of Jake Christ. So there's that. Moving on, Sami Callihan is pretty excited that OVE is finally back together in Impact Wrestling. He's pretty excited about it, and he says that the violence that will ensue tonight, and then that they're taking over everything. Moving on, Joe Hendry versus Dirty Dango for the Digital Media Championship. Santino Marella is on commentary. Dirty Dango is too focused on Santino Marella, and then this allows for Joe Hendry to retain via the standing ovation for the 1, 2, 3. So I'm guessing this will probably lead to a match between Santino Marella versus Dirty Dango at Slammiversary. Maybe like a no DQ match or something like that. So Santino won't have to take too many bumps. That's probably where things are leading to. And Joe Hendry has defeated Dirty Dango twice. So, yeah. All right, on to the main card. So, we see a video package of Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley entering the building from earlier on in the day. Moving on. This leads us into our first match of the night. That being Eddie Edwards versus Frankie Kazarian. The story of the match was basically they were two former students of Killer Kowalski, the late great Killer Kowalski. And basically, Frankie Kazarian gets the win via a cradle pin for the 1, 2, 3. Not really that important. A very boring match to start the show off with. I don't really too much like Eddie Edwards. Number one is I liked him when he was in the Wolves. As of late, he's been very, very lazy. He's fat and doughy, and he refuses to work out and get in that gym. And another thing is he just doesn't have it anymore. It seems like Eddie Edwards is like a very low tier guy in Impact because he's been there for about 8 years. 2014, so basically 9 years. So he's been there for quite some time. He refuses to get better. He was better when he was in the Wolves with Davey Richards. And then Frankie Kazarian, it's like, bro, hang up your boots and just become a backstage producer. Seriously. You're not going to be world champion. I hate to say it. You're not. Just become a backstage producer. Or manage somebody. That's what I would do with him. Moving on. So Jimmy Jacobs, he's backstage talking to Nick Aldis, Heath, John Gresham, and Bully Ray. So Nick says they'll work together. And then at the end, it'll be strictly business. Jonathan Gresham and Heath, they agree. But Bully is pretty tired of hearing about this trust stuff. He says they sound like a bunch of white meat baby faces with no freaking balls. He said they can trust him in the tag match as long as they follow his lead. He said once that's done, he'll slit their throats. Nick seems surprised that they can't trust Bully. Well, not really. So this leads us into The Good Hands, which is Jason Hotch and John Skyler versus Ace Austin and Chris Bay, a.k.a. the Ace and Bay Connection, for the Impact World Tag Team Championships. So Brian Myers gets on the mic before the match gets started. He talks about how Ace Austin and Chris Bay don't look like tag team champions. And then John Skyler talks about how Columbus is a dump and how they'll leave as tag champs. So this leads us into the match. The tag champs, they retain via the Art of Finesse into the fold for the 1, 2, 3. And this was an okay match. But again, you guys know that I despise Brian Myers. He fucking sucks. Again, he should be a backstage producer. Get him off my television. Quick, fast, in a hurry. Moving on. So, Gia Miller is talking to Deonna Purrazzo and Trinity. Deonna says they have matching gear tonight, and there's no reason why they can't coexist. Deonna wants to face Trinity at 100% at Slammiversary, and Trinity shares that same desire. Okay, cool. I'm fine with that. This leads us into a very uninteresting dog collar match involving Killer Kelly and Masha Slamovich. I thought this would have been a lot better. This was very weak, though. There should have been, like, kendo sticks, steel chairs, just, the basic weapons. But basically, Masha ends up getting the win via the snowplow. And that was it. So, the match was okay. It wasn't as hard-hitting as I thought it was going to be. It could have been better. If they were going to go this route, they should have just went and did it like a no DQ match or a last woman standing match or something like that, or even a steel cage. Shit, I would have taken the steel cage over this. Like, they could have done so much more, but I guess they were pressed for time or whatever, but this wasn't what I expected it to be. I had pretty high expectations for this match. I really did, but Impact let me down and they didn't deliver. The match itself was okay, but they could have done so much more. But it is what it is. Moving on. So post-match, Masha pulls Kelly to her feet and shows some kind of respect. So I guess they're going to end up turning them into a tag team, which is fine, to take on the Coven. So I'm guessing probably at Slammiversary will probably be the Coven versus Masha Slamovich and Killer Kelly. And that is something that I could be very happy about because Killer Kelly, that chick is bad. My God, she's bad. All right, moving on. So Gia Miller is backstage with the Motor City Machine Guns. So Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin, they have chances to win singles gold tonight. And they're both more about actions than words. So this leads us into Trey Miguel versus Chris Sabin for the Impact X Division Championship. This was a very solid, typical Spot Fest match. I enjoyed it for the most part. Towards the end of the match, Trey Miguel goes out into the under the apron. He pulls out not one, but 2 spray bottles. So the ref figures out he has the first one, and the ref throws that away. And then this allows Trey to pull out the spray in his back pocket. So he sprays Chris Sabin. He goes to pin him. Chris Sabin kicks out. And then Chris Sabin hits the Styles Clash for a long 2 count. Then he hits a clothesline from Hell, Michigan. And then he hits the Cradle Shock with a 1, 2, 3. And then he's the new 9-time X Division champion. I'm fine with this. This kind of makes sense. Impact loves the Motor City Machine Guns. They are the John Cena of the tag division in Impact. And they have been for quite some time. So I'm fine with this. Again, I like both Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley. We knew they were going to go this route. So, I mean, why not? And this went about close to 15 minutes. So this was a pretty decent match here. I assume Miguel's probably going to get a rematch at Slammiversary. Maybe like a 2 out of 3 falls match, and then have Chris Sabin retain. That's probably what they'll do going into Slammiversary. Next, the 8-4-1 match. Bully Ray, Jonathan Gresham, Heath, and Nick Aldis versus Mike Bailey, Moose, PCO, and Rich Swann. I forgot that PCO was in this match. I forgot. I mean, like I say, it's not important, though. So Jonathan Gresham is the one to get the win for his team. He pins Rich Swann. So then it breaks down to a fatal 4-way. So Scott D'Amore comes out in the middle of this match. Him and Bully have some choice words with one another. Bully demands Scott D'Amore to hit him with a steel chair. He does, and then he flips off Bully Ray. And then Nick Aldis wins via the cloverleaf because Heath Slater tapped out, which is a perfect call. This makes sense. We all knew that Jonathan Gresham wasn't going to win. We know Bully Ray stuck in a infinite loop storyline with Scott D'Amore, and we all knew that Jonathan Gresham wasn't going to win. Come on, he's like 5'1", 5'2" at best. No, he's not winning. So this is the right decision here, right call here. Everybody knew that Nick Aldis was going to win this. Like, this was a no-brainer. I knew he was going to win this regardless. I knew it. Moving on, Tortilla Miller's backstage with Steve Maclin. She asked him if he has any of the, Gia Miller asked Steve Maclin if any of the events of tonight affect his game plan against Alex Shelley. He says they don't. Moving on, Trinity and Deonna Purrazzo versus Giselle Shaw and Savannah Evans with Jay Vidal. So, Deonna Purrazzo gets the win here via the submission. The La Maxtra, whatever it's called, her little armbar that she does, which is great. So, this makes sense. I'm fine with this. I wasn't really too big on this match because of Giselle Shaw reasons. So post-match, the three attack Purrazzo, but Trinity comes back and makes the save, and then they both handshake and hug each other, and then they do a little bit of dancing, so that's fine. I'm pretty sure that Deonna will probably lose to Trinity at Slammiversary. Again, I have a feeling that they're going to end up fast-tracking Trinity and Nick Aldis as champions. They have to get more spotlight on Impact, to make it a more believable promotion. Because Deonna Purrazzo and Steve Maclin as champion. Steve Maclin is okay, but he's more of like a transitional champion, and then Deonna Purrazzo, she's been there so long that it's not really that important, you know. I'd rather see her back in WWE, if we're being honest, or even in AEW, but more so WWE. Moving on, so we get the Ohio Street Fight next, which is the design, which is Diener, Khan and Angels versus OVE, Sami Callihan, Jake Christ, and Madman Fulton. Basically, it's just your typical spot fest hardcore match. Steel chairs, barbed wire, tables, shovels, trash can lids. We've seen it all before. In the end, Sami Callihan gets the win via the cactus driver through a barbed wire board for the 1-2-3 on Diener. Who cares? Who gives a shit? I'm so tired of this shit. I'm glad that it's over. And it is what it is. So it doesn't really matter. Who cares? A waste of time, if you're asking me. A waste of time. Then the main event. Steve Maclin versus Alex Shelley for the Impact World Championship. This is a very decent match. So Maclin, towards the end of the match, attempts to do the spear on the turnbuckle. So he hits the exposed turnbuckle. And then Shelley does a super kick, and then he does the shell shock for the 1, 2, 3. And we have a new Impact World Champion, Alex Shelley. And I'm like, are you serious? Steve Maclin didn't even get 2 months as champion. He was only champion for 55 days. 55 days. Not even 2 months. Not even 2 months. I don't understand it. I get why they're doing it. I guess they'll probably end up maybe having they might do a triple threat match where it's Steve Maclin versus Nick Aldis versus Alex Shelley at Slammiversary. They might do that because Impact loves doing that from time to time. That's the WWE in them. But I don't know. I don't know why they did this here. I really don't. I guess they did it just because they wanted to give the crowd a feel-good moment, because they gave it to Chris Sabin, and they didn't want the Motors, Alex Shelley to not have gold, I would assume. So I assume what they might do is have Steve Maclin win it back probably at the end of June when they do their show in in Australia. They may have him win it back there. I don't know. But I don't know why. The only reason why they did this was because they needed to appease the crowd. There's nothing else. And Maclin was okay as champion. He was actually getting heat and everything. He was. I don't know why Maclin lost here. I can't think of any reason as to why he didn't retain, but it's Impact. I mean, they did what they want to do. I'm guessing we'll have Maclin versus Alex Shelley maybe Thursday coming. So maybe on Impact we'll get a rematch and maybe Maclin will win that way. I don't know. But we're going to have Steve Maclin versus Nick Aldis. That makes more sense because why? Nick Aldis is a lovable babyface and a believable one, and then Maclin plays that dastardly heel very well. I'm not interested in seeing babyface versus babyface. I'm just not. I don't know. I mean, it's interesting to say the least, but there was no reason as to why Steve Maclin should have lost this. I don't know. Overall, the show itself was okay. It wasn't nothing spectacular, if we're being honest. We just had 2 title changes, a new X Division champion and a new Impact World champion. So, I don't know. I have no idea. Your guess is as good as mine. But what did you guys think? Let me know. Please hit your like button, comment down below, and subscribe to my videos. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.